kitchen, scratching countertops. I was screaming. My back hurts like a cat. My position couldn't stop. You were hitting and I shouldn't cry.
Y'all, they are arresting disabled rights advocates. Do I even need to say ACAB?
Day 3 on E. I know this is really late, y'all, but this is day 20 on E. This is day 30 on E. Hi there, it's about 105 days on E. Hi y'all, it's been about 145 days or about 5 months on E. Hey, it's 6 months on E. Hey, it's 7 months on E. Happy Pride y'all, 8 months on E. Hey, it's 9 months on E. Hey, a new place and 10 months on E. Hey, it's 11 months on E. Guess what? It's 12 months on E. Ah! To younger Sean and to older Sean, we did it. And 1 year down with many, many more to go.
So the feds just released new symbols to look out for. The anarchist symbol, the ACAB symbol, Antifa, the 3 arrows, the ANCOM flag, the black flag, smash fascism, no war but class war, eat the rich, no borders, Nazis go home. The government doesn't announce that they have become fascist. They announce anti-fascists are enemies of the state. And I know I joke about this a lot, but I am probably unironically on a watch list, and a lot of you probably are too. A lot of the moderators on this app are ex-feds.
Aletta Avarez says, this is on Instagram, what if those who get lost in the Bermuda Triangle are time traveling?
What if?
Here's 5 nonfiction books that would make for an incredible documentary series. America on Fire, The Untold History of Police Violence and Black Rebellion Since the 1960s would perfectly contextualize the anti-police sentiments that are growing in this country and also give a poignant and beautiful history that looks at some of the most important parts of U.S. history that are often overlooked. Life on the Rocks could give stunning visuals to some of the most visually apparent and tragic forms of climate change in the modern era. Diners, Dudes, and Diets would be a fascinating history of the last 100 years in terms of food media, of advertisements, of diets, and of gendered politics. The Great Displacement is my favorite read of the year, and it tells the story of 7 different cities and how their struggle against climate change speaks to the larger national issue and what it means for our future. The 90s is my favorite read from last year, and it's a history that analyzes pop culture, history, politics, and so many other fascinating topics, and really gives a lot of credence to the idea of how we conceptualize time periods.
What is the Marxist position on the state of Alabama? Well, certainly the state of Alabama is a bourgeois state. Perhaps you could argue it is subject to a little bit of internal imperialism within the U.S. Most of the capital within Alabama does not stay in Alabama, and higher income states have an exploitative relationship. Are fellatios Marxist? Certainly. As Engels analyzed in The Origin of Family and Property, with the advent of society and classes, women became commodified, and in many ways, modern-day fellatio does see men use women as objects to get them off, but certainly it is a fun activity. What is the Marxist position on Werther's Original Hard Candy? It certainly is a bourgeois capitalist company, but the candies are fine. Can anybody explain to me that one time that Lenin on August 13th, 1912 stubbed his toe and said, "Ouchie, that hurts"? I have never heard of this event. Certainly there might be some new. What is the Marxist position on fellatio? Oh my lord.
Tried to say she gave me her all, she played ball. All bets off, the feeling.
There is no group hated more in America than white people.
I can't be racist. I have white friends. Yeah.
Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on.
Y'all, I'm not a passenger princess. I'm just a train girl who's trapped in a car-centered world. There's a difference.
Non-binary people? How does that work in a gendered language?
It does not work. It doesn't. Just no. Okay, so I'm Italian, my name is M, I use they, them pronouns, and yes, I'm a non-binary person. In Italian, it's very difficult because, as you said, like in the French language, everything is gendered. So we have the male nouns, the female nouns, and every person needs to be gendered according to the binary genders, which are just two. Italian comes from Latin, and Latin used to have a gender-neutral set of pronouns, but they were not used for like people, so just for things. So basically in Italian we just have the female set of pronouns, which is lei, and the male set of pronouns, which is lui. And every non-binary person either needs to pick a side or break all the rules in the Italian language, which is why the discourse around gender-neutral pronouns in Italy is just, you know, shit. And everyone wants to say, oh no, the language of Dante, you're ruining it. And yes, we actually are ruining it, but for a very good cause. So gender binary is also reflected like in the laws and in everything you can do or not do. So when you are a non-binary person just like me and you use Italian as your main language for work and for life, for friends, for family, you need to break the grammar rules. And it's also very empowering because every bigot will come to you and say you're not natural, and you will say back to them like, okay, but also, you know, like language is not natural, is a concept we created just to communicate, you know. So to get to the point, when you're a non-binary person in Italy speaking Italian as their main language and you want to actively use they, them pronouns, you need to break the grammar. Just like that. For example, when you want to say, oh yes, today I'm very happy, you need to either say sono contenta, which is the female gendered set of pronouns, or sono contento, which is the male pronouns. If you do not identify as either, you need to, one, remove the last letter. So it would not be contenta or contento, but content. Or you could use another word like felice, which basically means the same. Italian is a very like rich language, so if you want to say something, you can actually remove the gender binary, the set of pronouns, male or female, altogether. And that's very cool. Most people actually talk in a gender neutral way, but they do not acknowledge it. And that's very, very fucking cool. However, removing the last letter from the word, whichever word it is, a noun, an adjective, a verb, it's not like regulated in the Italian grammar. You can pronounce it, you can write it, but like you cannot actually use it on academic papers or bureaucratic papers. However, in the last 5 to 7 years, we actually saw another proposal coming to play to break the Italian language, which is the schwa. It's actually it's a sound which, yes, it does exist in Italian, but it's not very much used because it's mostly used like in dialects, like in the Neapolitan dialect. And people, non-binary people, claimed it to break the grammar and create like a third way to say things. I personally use it and I think it's so fucking cool. So yeah, that's it, I guess. We actually have a long way ahead of us to see the regulation of non-binary people in grammar, in the Italian grammar. But we're doing it. We are so doing it.
What if those who get lost in the Bermuda Triangle are time traveling?
What if?
The more entertaining your propaganda, the better it works. Right off the bat, I don't think most people understand that propaganda is like a really broad term for any message with a political inclination to it that you are giving to the masses with the intent to change people's minds. It can be good, it can be bad, it can even be neutral. Propaganda is just like, if you want people to vote for free school lunches for kids, and you put out a commercial that makes that seem like a good idea, that's propaganda. If you're like, well, that makes most things propaganda, then. Like the police have one of the greatest propaganda campaigns ever. Because the police procedural is one of the greatest 45-minute entertainment blocks we've ever figured out. It just works really well to introduce a crime and then introduce people who are investigating that crime, and then over 45 minutes you unveil who did what, and then maybe you put some courtroom drama at the end. I know so many staunch leftists who hate the police with every fiber of their being, who still watch Law and Order because they can't stop watching Law and Order. Most of the Marvel movies are propaganda to the point where they directly work with the United States military, and the United States military has final say on the project as to what gets into or out of the final cut. Stop ruining my take! Captain Marvel directly had a recruitment campaign, and it was very successful. The Top Gun series, just those two movies, are some of the most successful propaganda the United States Navy has ever produced. Every time they put out a particularly successful war movie, recruitment goes up. People go to the movies and they watch really heroic scenes of stuff and they go, I want to do that. And then they go and find a recruiter and they get screwed over. Yeah, it'll be just like Hacksaw Ridge. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we could make you a medic. Oh, you loved Top Gun? Yeah, just sign on the dotted, and once you get through the normal training, we'll be sure to accelerate you into the fighter pilot program. Yeah, you'll be a Top Gun in no time. Come on, kids, join the war. It's just like the Marvel movies. Oh my God, they recruit on Twitch now. So just let that rattle around in the noodle. Yeah, on Fortnite. Fortnite is got recruiters playing with the kids. This is all to say, one of the things I don't think anyone ever talks about is that Fox News is very entertaining. I know people don't like to compliment things they don't like. It's just like, I don't like to admit that Donald Trump is one of the most fascinating human beings that I have ever seen. I don't like that when he talks, I am fascinated. I can't really watch him anymore, but like, I'll admit, in the beginning, when he would go up there and just ramble through some dumb speech about like nuclear weapons, I just sit there and be like, wow, what is wrong with this guy? But just because I have a part of me that is like, haha, the things he's saying are dumb, the part of me that's like, you know, drawn in, that's his charisma. Stop ruining my takes. There's a reason he was a successful game show host, because he's fun to watch be a buffoon. And Fox News is like if Michael Bay made the news. Like, if you haven't watched it in a while, the banners and the graphics, and it's just so much visual noise and actual noise. Like, I don't know if it's gotten to the point where like a bald eagle screams across the screen dragging an American flag to switch between the various white people screaming at the screen. But it's close. Like, every banner is like a waving American flag with like, attention, terrorism, and blah, blah, blah. And then like, there's like another banner that's like, the stock market's gonna kill your mom. And then some guy gets on there and he looks constipated and he's like, you're not gonna fucking believe what the president did. And you're like, what did the president do? Not only is he a senile old man who doesn't know anything, but he's about to start World War III because of his mastermind. And you're like, wow, no way, he's both weak and strong? Oh, that's scary and historically something that has worked to rile up the masses? Tell me more! And they're like, let's cut to this general whose troops didn't like him while he tells you some not very true things about how things are going with the military. You know, that thing that you love but also hate. Because they have guns and tanks and jets, and that's fucking awesome. But they also let women in now, and they had to change some of the uniforms because they get pregnant sometimes. And the Navy SEALs, oh my God, oh, just thinking about makes me want to, but also one of them was trans once, so that's not okay. And then like 17 identical looking women say something about the economy, and then it cuts back to like an angry white guy screaming. And like, let's just be honest, most of the 90s comedy was white men screaming. It's successful. People like watching that. Sometimes it's funny, you know. I enjoyed some Lewis Black when I was growing up. I enjoyed watching him, you know. Although I do think I should draw attention to the fact that Jewish people have a very good reason to scream, separated from white supremacy. So just wanted to lay that right there, you know, let that stew. Maybe Lewis Black wasn't the best example, but when I think of screaming in the 90s, he immediately came to mind. That's because everyone else was just copying him, as I'm sort of doing right now. Anyway, moving on. Fox News works because it's entertaining. I mean, it's labeled as entertainment. They're not even the news. And I just think we got to remember that. We got to remember that propaganda works because it's fun to watch, because it makes you feel stuff. Like, I really feel like people don't want to acknowledge that, like, even if you know that it's propaganda, it'll still make you feel the feelings in your ape brain. Again, a lot of staunch leftists watch Law and Order. Bum, bum. Also, Star Trek brings a ton of people into the military. It's the closest thing you're gonna get to Starfleet. People go to the sub program because the sub school's apparently just like the Starfleet Academy. Sometimes it's like good. A lot of Star Trek causes people to go become doctors and engineers and scientists. So, you know, yay there. But I think people need to start, when they're enjoying their programming, to recognizing the feelings that it causes in them. Go watch Top Gun Maverick, and whatever that feeling is, try to get in the headspace and feel that feeling and recognize that's why people join the military. Whatever that is. I don't know why it comes from Tom Cruise. I don't. But when you put that man into a fighter jet, I experienced the horrors of war, and I watched Top Gun Maverick, and I'm like, oh, I'd do it again. I gotta like tamp that down. I gotta be like, what is that? What is that feeling? But it's there. It's there, and we need to acknowledge it. Also, something about mustaches. Cops, the military, other things. Yeah, some there. Propaganda mustaches. That's what we're in the video. Have a great day, everybody. Germany, World War II, mustache. Stop ruining the take! The more entertaining your propaganda, the better it works. Right off the bat, I
want to talk about the best piece of propaganda I've ever seen. This movie, The Creator. This is pro-AI propaganda like we've never seen it before. The narrative is essentially drawing on imagery of Vietnam, slavery, and liberation movements. The film basically draws parallels between AI and every oppressed group. The main character of the movie that helps the AI on their path towards liberation is also a black man. And it was emotional. It was moving. Like, I cried multiple times throughout the movie, and I'm not even ashamed to say that. Does this mean that I am now pro-AI, that I'm a transhumanist? Absolutely not. And I recognize that this is capitalist propaganda. What we've seen so far with AI is it replicating the bigoted beliefs of its creators. So this film was damage control. It's effective propaganda.
I'd be very happy to never see another sexual assault depiction in any book, movie, or TV show. It's been done to every kind of woman in every which way. For no reason, for terrible reasons, for a good reason. It's cited as being historically accurate, but when is the last time you've seen an unshaven armpit on a woman? But mostly it's just lazy writing, and I'm good. I no longer want to hear about it, read about it, talk about it, normalize it from now until the end of time. I think I'd be okay with that. In fact...